All right, so today we are diving into a story that takes us on a pretty wild ride. We're going to start with a full-blown panic over an anime villain and somehow end up with this incredibly deep philosophical truth from the Old Testament. Yeah, it's a bizarre trip, so let's just get right into it.
So, this is it. This is the central question. On the one hand, you've got this villain who can literally see across parallel universes, and on the other, you have a lesson about farming and power from thousands of years ago. I mean, how in the world do these two things connect? Well, funny enough, it all kicks off with a really, really bad dream.
So, our story begins with our main guy, Ed, practically falling out of bed in a cold sweat. He is absolutely convinced he's being hunted by Baya Koran, a villain from the anime Hitman Reborn. And look, for Ed, this isn't just some nightmare he can shake off. Oh no, this is a full-on dimensional incursion.
And, to balance out Ed's total spiral into chaos, we have Emma. She's our grounded, perpetually unimpressed voice of reason. While Ed is freaking out about being hunted across different timelines, Emma is basically just wondering why on earth he's screaming his head off this early in the morning. She is all of us, right? So when Ed tries to explain his theory that anime characters have started crossing over into our reality, Emma's reaction is, well, it's pretty much perfect. You just get this explosive "Bakayaro" from her, which just captures the complete absurdity of what she's hearing. She is not having any of it.
And this is where you really see how far off the deep end Ed has gone. He suddenly gets this terrifying yandere look in his eyes. You know the type, that obsessive, kind of creepy look. And what's brilliant is that Emma points out he hates that character type. The second he starts acting like the very thing he despises, she knows, okay, this has gotten seriously weird.
So what's Ed's grand plan to fight a dimension-hopping anime villain? Is it a weapon? A shield? Nope. His solution is a book, a very specific book he affectionately calls Benedict.
And I gotta tell you, this is not just some casual reading for him. Ed treats this Bible like it's this powerful, living thing. He even warns Emma to stand back. And when he opens it, this brilliant light literally pours out and fills the room. He's not just looking for a nice verse, he is consulting an oracle.
And what's the very first thing this oracle shows them? A city on fire. The fall of Nineveh. I mean, talk about ominous. It's terrifying, it's dark, and it is definitely not the comforting message Ed was probably looking for. The whole mood just drops instantly.
Okay, so at this point, they're both pretty freaked out. They try to play it cool, hoping maybe it's just a crazy coincidence, a 1 in a million chance the book opened to that exact apocalyptic page. So they decide to give it one more shot.
But Benedict, the Bible, it doubles down. The very next page they turn to is from the book of Jonah, and it explicitly tells him to go to Nineveh, the exact same city. And that's the moment they both realize, okay, this is not a coincidence. They're caught up in something way, way bigger than just an anime-fueled panic attack.
So, the tension is just through the roof. Ed, probably thinking the worst, turns the page one last time, and what he finds isn't more fire and brimstone. No. What he finds is a moment of pure, world-changing clarity.
He lands on this verse from King Solomon in Ecclesiastes. And for Ed, reading these words is like a lightning bolt to the brain. All the fear, the paranoia, the stuff about the anime villain, it just melts away. And it's replaced by this sudden, profound understanding of how the world actually works.
And just like that, bam, he snaps out of it. The words Shunkan Kaifuku flash, which means instant regeneration. The panic is gone, he's on his feet, his eyes are burning with this newfound intensity, and he is ready to explain the massive universal truth he's just stumbled upon.
So Ed flips into what he calls Regalia Hawari mode, and he explains this isn't a mode for arguing or debating. Oh no, this is a mode for crushing a concept. He is about to break down the entire structure of human civilization for a very, very confused Emma.
He lays out this whole scenario for it. Picture this. You've got poor citizens demanding their rights. The rulers, feeling powerful, use the police and the courts to shut them down. They think they're in complete control. But here's the thing they're forgetting. There's a much bigger power listening to their empty boasting, and that's the food supply itself.
And this all leads to the core lesson, the real chain of command. See, we think it just goes up from the people to the authorities to the rulers to the king. But there's another step. The king, the most powerful person in the land, serves the harvest. Without food, his army, his laws, his gold, it's all worthless. The entire foundation of civilization rests on something as simple as a good harvest.
So, okay, incredible philosophical breakthrough, right? Ed now understands the true nature of power, the bedrock of society. He's had this massive epiphany. Everything should be resolved now, right?
Which really brings us to the big question. Does all this grand universal wisdom about kings and harvests have any, practical application for Ed's initial, and let's be honest, pretty ridiculous problem?
And the answer is a big, hilarious nope. The second he's done explaining the fundamental secret of civilization, he snaps right back to it. Byakuran, what else? The deep wisdom didn't fix the immediate anxiety. And just like that, we're right back where we started, with the anime villain.
And I think that's really the final takeaway here. You can have these incredible light bulb moments where you grasp these deep, fundamental truths about the world, but that doesn't always stop you from worrying about the small, absurd, and sometimes completely fictional problems that live rent-free in your head.
And the whole thing ends with Ed posing one last paranoid question to Emma. If characters can cross over from stories, what about authors who don't write happy endings? What's their responsibility? And it's played as a joke, but it kind of leaves you with this surprisingly deep thought to chew on. In a world so full of stories, what is the real-world responsibility of the people who create them? Something to think about.